wasn't here yet. Okay. I do need, I'm sorry, you know, I'm off grid, I don't do any of this stuff, and I'm not pointing the wrong way. Anyway, first of all, I want to thank everybody who participated in the November election. That was huge. The fact that we actually defeated ranked choice voting with the highest percentage across the country, as well as the win for Donald Trump at a 70-30. And if it wasn't for you all, this never would have happened. And we put out a lot of signs, other people put out a lot of text, other people did the little videos that were out on social media, a lot of phone calls, everything. So if it wasn't for you all to follow up and get out and meet with the folks and let them know what the dangers were with ranked choice voting and open primaries, we have now pulled ourselves back on the other side of this precipice, and I'm looking at least 12 years of prosperity and good times. So that's great. It's been a heck of a year, but I'm just going to focus on the winter meeting that we just had last weekend. We have 2 meetings a year, winter meeting, summer meeting. Last summer we had our winter convention where I was put in for a second term, and all the other executive officers were put in as well, and a couple of new ones. So from that point on, we will have this winter meeting we just had. A summer meeting will be held in Bannock County in Pocatello on June 20th and 21st. So if you're going to attend that, you might want to start looking around at hotels or find some friends or neighbors down there that you want to stay with. Anyway, we're looking forward to that being a good meeting as well. I want to tell you that the meetings that we have had since I've become chair, the first couple were pretty raucous. We had some issues, big issues we had to deal with. But this last meeting went very well. The one in the summer went very well. We actually got through all of our rules and resolutions, and we have some stellar chairmen. Brent Regan from Kootenai County is our rules chairman. The guy is remarkable. He helped us, he did 95% of the work on that caucus by getting the poll books ready, getting our ballots put together, and our boxes shipped out to every one of the caucus locations. He is phenomenal, and I can never thank him enough for everything he does for the party. The other one that we just got for our resolutions committee is Senator Scott Herndon. He was defeated last year in his race. I'm sure he's going to come back, try to come back again. But he ran that resolutions meeting. He had 36 resolutions to start with. All of them were heard within a 4-hour window from 5 p.m. last Friday until 9 o'clock. And boy, right at 9 o'clock, he finished. So out of those, we have 22 that have passed, and the rest just fell out. Some of them were pretty wonky. We had one that was brought forward that said, we don't want school choice, we just want to support public schools. I don't know what party they're with, but they obviously were not with the Republican Party. So that's what we deal with. We have all kinds, but we knocked out some of those resolutions. The other thing about our winter meeting is we finish it out on Saturday with a winter gala. That is our largest fundraiser for the year, aside from personal donors or any speakers I bring in. That's the one we make the most money at. And it was a great event. We had the Frim Fram Four. A lot of us were up there dancing and having some fun. So it was a nice way to finish out a week that was pretty wild. When you start New Year's Eve is so close to the winter meeting, it was pretty tight and a lot of work. I do want to recognize, where's Christy? Christy Warhurst with the camera in the back. She's my office manager, and she is with me today. I left my ED, my executive director, in the office to answer the phones. He got to come, though, to the state of the state, so that was good for him. I do want to recognize some groups in here. I'd like for my Boise Boise Republicans to stand up, BSU Republicans to stand up. I'm sorry. Austin, yeah, all you guys stand up. Week and meeting with them, and we're going to continue to develop that relationship. And a lot of them actually did come out to our open house after we had our electoral vote in this very room on December 17th to get our votes for Trump recorded and off. So that was great. I'd like to recognize the legislators in the room. Can you please stand up, because I want to thank you for taking your lunch period, your 1 hour, to come in and see us. And now I want to go through some of these resolutions. Again, I told you that we had about 22 passed. We had 36 originally. We got some good ones. We got some that weren't so good. Some of them are ones that we will take action on here in the with the legislature. And there's two people that are going to help us reveal what a lot of these resolutions are and push them through. And our House liaison, we have someone who works with me to talk to the House members, and that will be our Assistant Majority Leader, Josh Tanner. So I'm excited about that. It's great to have someone in leadership who actually want to see the resolutions that you all put together to go through these chambers. So that is swell. The other one is Senator Lenita Zeiderveld. She was Senator Zeiderveld was our liaison for the past 2 years, and she's going to continue because she does such a good job. So you will see some of these resolutions I'm going to tell you about actually moving through these chambers. Some of them I'm not going to talk about because we already know that grizzly bear introduction into the state is not good, and we want to make sure that we do not allow any animal that's an apex predator to come into the state on its own. On its own is one thing, but to be planted in here is a whole different ballgame. And we have quite a bit of activity on the eastern side of the state. And I live in Custer County, and I do carry all the time at the 45. I want to make sure I don't get eaten up by a grizzly bear. And it is happening. It is happening over in Montana and over in Wyoming, which borders our state. And bears really don't know boundaries. So they might say they do, but they don't. One of the other big pieces of a resolution that passed was one that anybody trafficking a minor for sex, and if they are charged, it's a lifetime sentence without parole. So that's one they Now, one of my friends, she's pretty bold, and she's always got a position on a lot of things. And she brought forward a resolution that would restrict the use of flags that are not American flag, the Idaho flag, MIA, POW flags, the military flags, or tribal flags. If it's anything else, you cannot fly them or post them on government-paid property that you guys are paying. Is back there, and you guys might have seen her before. She brings all the really fun legislation. So we'll see what happens with that one. But I agree. We shouldn't allow them to be putting all these flags up that are pushing some sort of socialist, liberal agenda that we in Idaho do not believe in. Just flat out don't believe in. Not the majority of us anyway. And the other one that I think is going to be pretty interesting, it's been brought up before, Lee Barron from Camas County, who has felt very strongly that just like we have 2 senators per state, that each county in Idaho should have 1 senator. We currently have 35. That would give us 9 more. This has been challenged. This has been in the courts before, but we're thinking with a friendlier Supreme Court, maybe that's something we could actually get through if it was challenged. So what does this do? Now we have a bunch of legislative districts in Ada County. So Ada County has a bunch of people in this building representing them. That's great. And you guys, a lot of you are from Ada County. But what about rural Idaho? They don't. By having 1 senator per county, now they do have a voice. So that will not, and that is not determined by population. So you could have little old Camas County having their 1 senator, and you could have Ada County having 1 senator. And I know a lot of people didn't like that at first, but it's a great idea for rural Idaho. 27% of the votes come out of Ada County. And you know, a lot of direction in this state is determined by that. So do we want to give a bigger voice to rural Idaho? Yeah. I live there. Of course I do. But anyway, that's one. Let's watch that one and see where that one goes. Another one, I'll bring this one up just because we will not take action on it here at the Capitol. But there was a resolution that was signed off by 5 counties and a couple of legislative districts. And it all had to do with the censoring of the fellow who led the charge for Reclaim Idaho, the Democrats and socialists in this state trying to destroy us by passing Prop 1. And that was Hiram Erickson. So Hiram Erickson is a Republican in Madison County. a PC, and he did hold an office. I don't know if that position has changed because a lot of counties and legislative districts do not give us the updated records, which is unfortunate. However, most people in that at Riverside Inn during during our winter meeting, they've all worked hard to defeat this, like you all did. And when you find out that one of our own is aiding and abetting Luke Mayville, that doesn't work for these folks. And this was the one, there were 2 resolutions that were pulled out of the packet of 22 that actually passed. This one we had some discussion on, but I'll tell you, if you were to read the entire room, it was not a good time to say, he's a nice guy, don't censure him. A censure does not take away property, money, doesn't kick him out of his position. It just makes people aware, don't put up with this. If somebody in your group is leading the charge for the other side, you might want to say, we're not going to let you do that. But that also opens up the eyes of people in their community, so at the next round, when they vote in their precinct committee men and women, they might want to rethink that. There were other people folks wanted to put in. We actually had a chairman who was carrying around the petition for that initiative that became Prop 1. Actually had their notary notarize it and actually delivered it to the county clerk to certify. So that's a problem. We have another one in a legislative district that actually is on Unite America. Go look at the Unite America board. I'll let you figure out who it is. Anyway, Unite America was one of the biggest funders. A lot of money, millions of dollars came in from that group to destroy our state. So there's another one. So there are some people we need to call out. Get with the other party if you're going to support them, for gosh sakes. I mean, really, we don't want you here to cause so much trouble and try to ruin what we have in our beautiful state. Yeah. So that's another one. I know that was the one that the press really wanted to hit. Let's see. The increase on legislative salaries, we did pass a resolution that legislators should only get a raise if they cut taxes. And so we'll see how that plays out. That was passed with a pretty good majority. Another one is to amend the state constitution regarding initiatives. Oh my goodness. We already know that Reclaim is going to bring 2 more. One to bring recreational marijuana. I haven't seen it yet, one way or the other to bring it into the state. And the other one is to reduce the restrictions on our abortion laws. Both of them we don't like. So if someone's been carrying the water for Reclaim on this last election, who's to say they're not going to try to do it again? That's why these censures are important. So we'll see what happens with that one. But this resolution calls for, instead of the 18 legislative districts, 23 legislative districts have to have signatures. Yes. To the tune of 10% of the number of people that voted in the previous election. And it's currently 6. So we're going to have the 6% to 10%, 18 to the 25. Or 23, excuse me, to the 23. So that would be a good one. And that was Howard Ryerson in Payette County who brought that one forward. Now this one is a good one, and I had to think about it first. Brian Allman brought it. Most of you, a lot of you know Brian Allman. You might look at his Substack and all of that. Yes, puts out a lot of good information. Prohibiting the DEI at our universities and colleges and universities. And a lot of you know that there was just a proclamation that we aren't going to allow DEI in our universities. I believe it was limited to the 4 larger universities. Now we need to go beyond that. And this is where the counseling offices will be removed. The extra people in every single geology department, math department, education department, every one of those extra people that were staffed and paid to run those will now be removed. So we'll see how it goes. The idea about bringing this resolution forward is that it does become law. Because right now, that decision was made by the State Board of Education. That can change out pretty fast. So let's go ahead and get it in the law books and make sure that that stands. So that's going to be one that we need to follow. Of course, we had another one is about the property tax. I'll tell you what my position on property tax. We had curb property tax increases to 2% annually. Property tax cap, no more than 1% of the property's market value, specific protections for seniors, veterans, and income families with low incomes. You know, to tell you the truth, people, I just want to get rid of property tax. I'm tired of all these mandates. You know, fact of the matter, you guys don't own anything. You think you do, but you don't. And when you get up in your 60s and you realize you're still paying for the home that you paid off 40 years ago, it's insane. It's insane. And you know, we have to have something. And your home is the most cherished thing, aside from family and your friends, is the most cherished thing that you have. You've worked your entire life for it. So I love all these little fixes. They're great. That might be all we get. But I think Idaho needs to lead the charge. We would not be the only state to remove property tax, have a user tax instead. We've got to balance this out. We've got to look at the numbers. I was listening to Bill Colley. I'm on the Bill Colley show, KLIX in Twin Falls, every Tuesday morning. And I have been for 2 years and 4 months now. And a lady was on at 7:25. I came on at 8 o'clock. And she was talking about, you know, I retired. I left California. I sold my house for, you know, what I thought was a lot of money. And I bought me a house, you know, a nice house, paid cash for it. And I moved to Twin Falls hoping that I could take a couple vacations a year. I could relax and go out and have coffee with friends, you know, once a week. And she said that, you know, the taxes that she paid, and when it started was somewhere in the like $800 or $900, it's $2,000 now. And she said, people don't realize my dreams are shot. I'm literally living hand to mouth in my retirement years. It shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't be that way. They get us from cradle to grave and on these taxes, and it's got to stop somewhere. So hopefully, with our new uber Republican legislature, 90 of them are supposedly Republicans. They hopefully better act like it. So we'll see if that actually happens. But property taxes are a huge issue, and I'm almost out of time. Oh my goodness sakes. Okay, one other one I want to talk about is that Joe Palmer, my last year in the legislature, was to take Boise and make districts. When you vote for city council, all the council members lived on the bench. They were in the same block. They were next door neighbors. They drink the same Chardonnay kind of thing. You know what I mean? So the problem is you want to spread them out. When you're a legislator, I go shopping, when I was in Chalice, I go shopping at Lamb's Market. I'd be able to talk to my constituents at every single row or aisle that I went down. And that was good. I mean, they had direct contact with me. If we were to take communities over 25,000 population and put them based on population districts, like we've had happen now in Boise, it would make representation much better for the people who live in those communities. Yeah. So that's one we're going to track. And then the last one I want to mention is that, again, I think this was Brian Allman, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, is to prohibit candidate withdrawals. If you remember when Raul Labrador won against Mr. Wasden, and then all of a sudden the Democrats pulled their candidate and threw in Arkush. Right. And it's like, how do you do that? Well, we just saw Kamal and Biden, those guys, that crew do the same thing. But it's really not right. If you have run, when you file in March to run as a legislator or whatever position you're running for, that's it. I mean, that's the deadline. We had the same switcheroo tactics happen in Canyon County. We had two legislators. One was a very good conservative, and so the two Democrats withdrew their candidacy because they wanted to do a switcheroo so that the one with the most money ran against the conservative with $34,000, I believe, and the other one had $2,500. That Democrat gave to run against the more moderate Republican candidate. You can't do that. Yeah. And that was against the law, and that one should not have been allowed to happen, but because somebody in the office and the Secretary of State wasn't sure what happened, okay, we're gonna let it go. We cannot let things like that go, because then we create this atmosphere of, you know, just like Nicholas was talking about, on the governor, on the Supreme Court saying, oh, well, the governor missed the deadline, but that's okay, we'll let it go this one time. No, you don't. The minute you let it go one time, then it's gone. Yeah. So this one is a good one. Hopefully, what this says is that you cannot back out of a race unless, one, you die. It makes sense. Two, if you don't live in your district, or if you don't even live in the state. And the third one would be if you have a major health crisis and you've got to have a lot of treatment. So that's a good one to follow as well. So I think the Republicans in the state are representing you well. So if you're not a PC, your PCs obviously have got together with your central committees to pass this information on to the State Central Committee, at which there's 229 members from every county. You have 4 people in every county. Your chair, state committee man, state committee woman, your youth person. Every county has 4. Then you have your legislative district chairs. Then you have your region chairs and your executive committee as well. That's 229 people who go to vote for you on these issues so that we can see it and run through this building. Anyway, so that is my update. I am out of time. I'm so sorry, I'm 7 minutes over. But I would, any questions, Ron, or they can just meet me afterwards? Okay, thank you. So anyway, I'll take some questions from you later. Thank you.